Hey y'all, and welcome to Storytime Around the Fire Table. This story is going to be about my encounter with the biggest nope rope or murder worm or whatever y'all crazies that are scared of snakes call them. I'm not scared of snakes. I respect snakes, but I'm not scared of them. I don't, like anything, if it startles you, it startles you. But to actually be scared of one is something totally different. I'm not scared of snakes. As long as I see them first, they do not bother me. Anyway, so I am hunting on my aunt's place over west of where I live, southwest, and it's pretty heavily just primarily all weesatch and mesquite. It's just nasty brush stuff. Anyway, all the fences are all growed up with either weesatch or I don't even know what all in there. Cat claw. Everything's got thorns. Everything has thorns. Anyway, I found this really good trail that crossed the fence in the neighbor's place. And of course, no big trees around. No place to put a blind. So I found the thickest bush I could find on this fence about 15 yards from where this crossing was. And so I put my feeder up right off the edge of the trail where this crossing was, and I cut me a hole in these thorns back on this fence. And I said, well, if I shoot something, maybe it'll run away from the fence and not back to the neighbors. Not that big a deal. I was real good friends with the game warden in that county, and we could have recovered whatever I shot regardless. But it's always good to know your neighbors. It's always good to have a good relationship with your game warden, just for situations where you need to go onto somebody else's place to recover an animal, or in case the fence is down, or there's a multitude of reasons why those are all good options. Know your neighbors, have a good relationship with them. Know your game wardens, have a good relationship with them. That way everybody gets along, everybody's good with each other. So anyway, one afternoon I decided I'm gonna go crawl up in this bush. And it's literally a bush. I had, drug a bunch of dead stuff and just kind of made a little brush blind, on this fence in amongst all these thorns. One way in, one way out, and that's right straight towards the feeder. So, sitting there, got a little folding stool, just big enough. This hole is just big enough that I can sit my fat butt in there, and I can still draw my bow as long as it's pointing straight at the feeder. I can't turn, I can't shoot anywhere else, I can't anything. I can see a little bit because it's not that thick, but I can't shoot anywhere except for the feeder. Can't draw anywhere except for the feeder. And I can't get out of this thing except for that direction. I got a barbed wire fence and tons of thorns behind me and around me and over the top of me and everywhere. Nothing but thorns. Anyway, so I'm sitting there. First time I ever hunted it. And had deer sign at the feeder. Knew stuff was coming. Really hoping there was a lot of javelina in the area, and I've never shot a javelina with my bow, so I was really hoping to have some javelinas come in where I could get a shot at one of them. And anyway, so I'm sitting there and I start hearing this noise. And it's plenty daylight. And it's not one of my scared of the dark stories or anything like that. There's plenty of them. You know, go watch a giant killer video. Anyway, that was the same place actually. Same property that this happened on, that happened on. So I'm sitting there and I hear this noise, and it's kind of a scraping, rough, kind of a, and it would stop and it would stop, and didn't sound like anything I'd ever heard being out in the woods. So kind of looking around and can't tell where it's coming from, but it's getting louder, and it's pretty consistent. You know, it makes a sound for a second or two and then stops and waits, and does it for a second or two and stops and waits. But like I say, it's getting louder. All of a sudden, I see it. And it is absolutely the biggest snake I have ever in my life experienced, witnessed, been close to. One of those situations that makes you go, not scared of snakes, but this isn't your ordinary snake. I mean, I've faced off with 5-foot rattlesnakes, no problem. This thing is over 10 foot long. It's big. And it was coming from the other side of the feeder in my general direction. So I just sit still. It gets to my side of the feeder. The feeder's only about 15 yards. Gets to my side of the feeder, closing in on 10 yards from me, coming right towards me. It's not a good situation. I only got one way out of this blind, and it's towards that damn snake. And like I said, I'm not scared of snakes. But this is on a different level. I mean, this is a humongous snake. And I know it won't hurt me. But it's still really big. I mean, really, really, really big. And it's coming right towards me. I let this thing get within about 3 yards, about 10 feet. And I threw a stick at him. And he stopped, he looked up, and he was looking. He raised his head about 8-10 inches off the ground. He was looking at me. Stuff. And I throw another stick. Zeroed in. I said, oh crap. So I finally just said, the heck with it. I told him. I said, you gone. You get out of here. You're not welcome in here. This is my blind. You gone. Go find you a rattlesnake to eat. Get. He didn't leave. He just kept looking very intently right at me. So I found me a bigger stick. And I throw that stick at him. And I told him, I said, go on, get. Boom, he took off. My heart rate back to normal after about, I don't know, hour and a half, maybe. Okay, maybe a minute or two, but felt like an hour and a half heart rate. Anyway. The first time I ever saw a blue indigo, I was in my truck, and it was just a 2-track little dirt road. You know, grass, dirt track, grass, dirt track, grass. snake all the way across. That's a pretty big snake. This one was bigger. And I think he was bigger because I was on the ground out in his territory with him. But yeah, they're cool snakes. They really are. I've seen them multiple times since and stuff. And that's the closest I've ever been to a really, really big one. This snake was probably, I don't know, 12, 13 foot long. And probably, I don't know, at least as big around as a baseball. I don't think it's quite as big as a softball, but he's a pretty big snake. A little bigger than what I wanted in that little bush with me and all them thorns. Anyway, give me y'all's encounters with the nope ropes. Why are you scared of them? If you're not scared of them, what encounters have made you a little more leery than others? Those kind of things. Love to hear your stories. Night, y'all.